Hello, everyone. Listen, I am so glad that you guys are able to join me today. I have something so powerful that the Lord gave me revelation on. So, in prayer, I was reading Numbers 14, 33 through 34. Okay. Now, let me tell you guys this. A lot of times when we choose to listen to man versus God and what God says, we miss the promised land. We miss what God is doing for us. Let me do this, y'all. That's bothering me. There we go. Anyway, we miss what God has promised us. Okay? Because we're so busy listening to man and living in the fear of what man is saying for us to do. So let me read this. I want y'all to read it yourself. Okay? But go with me to Numbers 14, 33 through 34. We might go through 35, but here we go. And your son shall be, let me first say this, you guys. First of all, at this point in time, the Moses had sent, God told Moses to send the spies out into the promised land for them to go and look around and see what was there. And they were there for 40 days. And when they came back, all of them but one gave a bad report. They responded in fear, saying those people are too mighty, they're too great, it's too big, it's too much. We can't defeat them. When the Lord had already said a long time ago that the promised land was theirs. Okay, that he was bringing them into the promised land full with milk and honey. They came back. Now I'm paraphrasing, so y'all got to go read it yourself. They came back saying, yes, the land is full of milk and honey. Yes, the land does have this. It is a beautiful land, right? But as there's giants there, we're like grasshoppers. We can't overtake them. They're stronger than us. They're bigger than us. All right. So this is the response from God to that. Numbers 14, 33 and 34. It says, and your sons shall be shepherds in the wilderness 40 years, and bear the burnt of your infidelity until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness. Now, look, God's telling them, y'all not going nowhere now. Now, I'm not even taking y'all into the promised land because you believed man versus me, and you begin to murmur and complain. Okay. According to the number of days in which you spied out the land, 40 days. For each day you shall bear your guilt 1 year, namely 40 years, and you shall know my rejection. So listen, the spies went into the land for 40 days. Okay. They come back, they give this bad report. They discourage the people of God, and the people of God begin to murmur and complain and walk in fear instead of believing what God says, instead of believing what Joshua said, because he gave a good report of the land. Like, come on, let's go. We can take him. God said. God said. Okay, go read your word, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's so good. Let's keep going. I, the Lord, have spoken. This I will surely do, so to all the evil congregation who are gathered together against me. God felt like, okay, y'all are against me. I told y'all what it was. I told y'all what to do. I told you I was giving you this land. I told y'all that this was for you. And you get a little scared and you get shaken in your boots when I haven't given you the spirit of fear. And then you begin to murmur and complain and you want to go back to Egypt and all this other type of stuff. You want to go back into bondage instead of walking fully in the freedom of God and what God promised you? Okay, let's keep going. In the wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. We're going to go to 35. Now, the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation complain against him by bringing a bad report of the land, those very men who brought the evil report out about the land died by plague before the Lord. But Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, remained alive. So Joshua and Caleb remained alive of the men who went to spy out the land. So there were two men. So I got to be corrected. See, y'all got to go read your word because I could just be telling y'all anything, right? But there were two men that were kept alive. Everybody else died by the plague. Every spy that was sent out died by the plague. Let me share with the revelation that God gave me for this. Okay, I'm going to share this with you guys. Because the children of Israel were fearful After the spies came back, they began to complain, they began to murmur, and God says, okay, I got y'all. Don't worry about it. You're not even going into the land. You're not even getting the promise. In fact, you're going to be here in the wilderness for 40 years until your generation dies off and the new generation comes up, and I will take that generation into the land. Okay? And that generation went into the land. All right? If you read the story, you know that. Okay? God was upset with them because he's like, I told y'all that I was taking you into the promised land full of milk and honey. I send y'all to go spy it out, see what's going on, get some of the fruit from the trees, bring it back. Just go and figure it out. And then come back and report to the people. And these spies, they were afraid, and they projected their fear onto the people of God. And because the people of God received what the men were saying, verses, and not the men that were positive, but the men that were negative, telling them, don't do it, we can't, it's too big, it's too much, blah, blah, blah. They believed their report and they missed out altogether. So I'm going to ask you guys today, whose report are you going to believe? Whose report are you going to believe? Are you going to trust the words of man? Are you going to trust when somebody tells you, God told you that job is yours? God told you, start that business. God told you, start that ministry. God said, everything's going to be okay. God said, don't go there. God said, don't do that. But man says the opposite of God. Man instills fear in you, so now you're paralyzed. And you're believing the report of man. And if you do that, you're going to miss out on your promise. You will miss out on your promise, believing what man says over what God says. So I'm sharing this with you guys today. I'm going to ask you this question. Whose report are you going to believe? Because when God says it, that settles it. I love y'all, but God loves you more. Y'all have a good day.